Alright, time to run naked. Get your mind out of the gutter. What do you think training naked meant?
Training naked is a term we use in exercise for removing reliance on your technology like watch or phone and getting out there for the joy of it. But beyond that, it can actually be a hugely handy way of learning a lot about you and your running, and you can use what you learn to take your running to a new level, as well as stay in the game for life. So these are my 5 reasons that training naked just might be able to set you free. There are so many things going on around us, but sometimes it's easy to forget that being present in the moment is everything. And one of the very best ways to reconnect with our surroundings is to shift the attention from some numbers on a watch or a phone to what's actually happening right now. Notice the small things, your environment, and learn to be appreciative of what's around you. It might be the rolling English countryside, it could be the trails of Australia, it could even be along the highways of the US or the beaches of Thailand. It might be a route that you've run 100 times but you've forgotten what it's like to appreciate it. What we're looking for is joyful running, because it's what running should be. My challenge to you is remove, or at very least cover up your technology and focus on noticing some new things on the route that you've run many times before. Or even use the opportunity to share experiences, because running with others can also be a joyful shared experience. Talking, catching up, not worrying about a pace or a heart rate. We like to call it Runderlust, reconnecting with running and exploring, seeing new things. It's appreciating the environment and the mere fact that you're able to run in the first place. Paces, performances, heart rates, they come and go, but running can be there forever. So we owe it to ourselves to reconnect with it and appreciate it that much more.
Another point about why it's really good to train naked is that you really get to know how paces and heart rates feel. And when you know that intuitively and naturally, and you can sense it, it puts you in a really good position when technology does fail. It's really powerful to be able to know how certain paces feel naturally without relying on the technology. So if you know your target paces and you practice running at them without the technology and you know how they feel, you'll be in a really good position if you come to a race and your watch fails or the GPS doesn't work. Today is Chicago Marathon and everybody's talking about the nightmare in Chicago with the GPS not working because of all of the tall buildings. So if you've practiced and you know what your marathon pace feels like naturally, you'll be in a good position in situations like that.
Also, I had this exact situation when I raced the half Ironman in Italy. The swim busted my heart rate monitor somehow, so I had no idea what my heart rate was when I was running, but I was very thankful that I'd done a bank of training without technology so that I knew roughly the pace that I needed to go to match the heart rate that I needed to be for that run. So I was really thankful for that as well.
So you might be thinking, how can I train naked and know what the pace was and how it felt? Well, it's quite easy. You just have to cover up your watch. I did a session the other night where I didn't actually cover it, but I made myself not look. But you could use a sweatband or something like that, cover up your watch and go out aiming to run a set distance at a certain pace, and then afterwards, when you've got the data, you look back and piece together how it felt, what your pace was it what you thought it was, and how can you adjust it from there. So it's retrospective training. You're running on feel, and then you pick apart, analyze and utilize the data later. And the aim is that over time you'll build up a bank of knowledge about how your body responds to certain situations. So you can look back at the data and see, how were you affected after a really busy week or a really stressful week, or when you're feeling rested, or when you're on a start line and you've got the adrenaline pumping. So you can really analyze the whole puzzle and get a clear understanding of your body, how it responds to certain situations, and how you can gauge in the right pace or the right heart rate for that situation.
And perhaps one of the biggest benefits of training naked is that it reduces your need, I guess, for extrinsic motivation. And all extrinsic motivation means is the things that motivate you outside of inside of you. Outside of inside. You get what I'm saying, right? Strava, Instagram, Garmin, wherever your runs upload to, or wherever you choose to share your runs, like social media, comes usually an inherent reward in the form of kudos if you're on Strava, or kudos, I never really know what it's called, likes on Instagram, or even views on YouTube videos. They're all pats on the back, they're all well dones, they're all pleasing somebody else. But that shouldn't be why we run. It's the same thing we as teachers try to instill in the children that we teach, is that they shouldn't be doing something to impress us as teachers. They shouldn't be doing something for a pat on the back or a house point or a reward. They should be doing it because they love the process of doing it. That should be enough. And I know it's very difficult to get there, but we can all get there. I honestly believe half the battle is just being aware of that fact. So before you put the run on Strava or the post on Instagram or doing anything where you're putting it out there on social media, ask yourself this question: who are you doing this for? Because if you are doing it for yourself, then it's absolutely no problems, then it's not an extrinsic motivator, it's not certainly the primary motivator. Even this channel, Mary and I started it for us as a way of documenting our lives and our journeys in running, so it's something that we can look back on when we're older and we're proud of, but it ended up just being able to help people. So our motivating factor is not extrinsic, it's not people giving us likes or comments. Whilst that's lovely, it's not what drives us. And when it comes to running, you know what? If it's not on social media sometimes, or it's not even recorded on Strava, don't worry, the body's going to remember it, and ultimately that's what counts. Now you've begun the process of removing reliance on extrinsic motivators, it's time to flip that and look at how we can run naked to help foster intrinsic motivation. For me, this is about finding our why. The reason we do all of this madness. And the easiest way I can explain how to search for your why, your driving factor, is to find something that has no end point. So to say you want to be fitter, it's halfway there because you can't win fitness. There is no end point. But if you tweak it even more to say you want to be the best version of yourself every day, this encompasses being fitter, but being fitter isn't the goal, it's a byproduct. Removing extrinsics like watches and phones once in a while allows us to focus on what really matters. Am I always going to get faster? No. Will I always be able to hold a certain pace or run a certain distance? No. Will my heart rate stay the same? No. Will I always strive to be the very best version of myself every day of my life and be someone I can look back at and be proud of? Yes. Definitely 100%. Give me some of that. And that has no end point. Other than when I die, obviously, although I don't actually plan on doing that ever. But having a why, a motivating factor that comes from within you and that is infinite in length and intrinsic, is the key to all of this. And the start of this process is to remove extrinsic motivations every once in a while and allow yourself to look inwards and work out what really matters at your core.
And the final reason that, in my humble opinion, we should be getting out there and training naked is because it's going to take you out of your comfort zone. And I think we all know that's where we need to be for the real growth to happen. So I think it's worth exploring the how, what and why running naked takes you out of your comfort zone. But it might not be the comfort zone that you think, because the way I look at running is that there's all types of comfort zones. There's the physical comfort zone that I'm in right now, running in zone 2 aerobic, but there's also the mental comfort zone, you know, knowing what you're doing, being able to look at the data on your watch, and there's other comfort zones in between. So I break down my running into many different comfort zones. I don't push all of them all at once, but I like to nudge away at them in different situations, in different circumstances. So I'm comfortable when I can see the data on my watch. I'm comfortable when I know what pace I'm running, when I know where my heart rate is at. It makes me feel that I'm in control. And that's not a bad thing, I think, for the most part. When you're running, that's what you need. But there are also times when I need to feel like, not that I'm out of control, but that I'm out of my comfort zone and that there's growth there. And when I train naked, when I take the watch off, running outside of the comfort zone pushes me mentally. It's the kind of psychological little short, sharp shock that I need. What I mean is that this is going to sound weird, but go with me. What I mean is that there is comfort going outside of the comfort zone. But let me tell you why that's actually important. So when the body and mind don't know what's coming, so for in this example, it's training naked, but it could just as easily be an interval session you haven't done before, or a tempo session. You're looking at putting in different stimulus. When that happens, that's where the big time growth is at. Oh, turn round. And ultimately, I think it comes down to us as runners. By our very nature as runners, we're pushing outside of our comfort zone to be better. So why wouldn't we embrace this opportunity to find another way to push just a little bit outside of our comfort zone and grow in another direction? That's what it's all about, right?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing, but no hard sell. And if you liked the video, then you're probably going to like this video, which is all around the best and ideal body shape for a runner. And if you're wondering if that's you, maybe you want to watch and find out, but it might not be what you think. And I'll see you for another bonus video on Wednesday, which is Mary's recent race result, and it is a good one. See you Wednesday.